Well, I was glad today to go and pick up my 2 blocks for the tool post project. Here they are, 2 blocks which are going to be sandwiched. So we've got the 2 pieces with all that annoying material removed. So that's how they look as separates. This piece here, that's the bottom, which is nominal 3/4. Guy's done quite a nice job of milling off around there. And this is the top piece, so I've gone ahead and we've marked up 1/4 inch scribe lines around the outside. And we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. So we got 4 corner bolts to drill and tap for, and the intermediate ones all for tool holding. And the centre is marked. And then we've got 4 more there, which are going to be for the. They're going to be cap screw, Allen head. So we're going to drill and counterbore, drill those through into the base, and that'll give us the sandwich. And that basically is what we've got to get done. The tool holding bolt. It's one of the tool holding bolts. These are Allen head 5/16. And then the cap bolts, Allen head. These are going to secure, 4 of those secure the sandwich. And we've got, I like to use up every bit of scrap I've got. And we've got a couple of chunks here. What size are they? I can't even measure them yet. That's it's actually metric again, 30mm. I've got lots of bits of metric, 30mm, but one of these pieces, probably this short one, will make into the, shall we say, the crown piece for the handle. Got a piece of 3/8 here, which will turn this to an angle and set the 3/8 in, and at the end of that we'll have a handle, which is, I've got this little chunk which, if I can use it up, it'll become a handle. There we are, rather quick intro. Well, not so quick actually, because I talk too much, somebody said on one of my comments. There's my counterbore drill, that'll go into 3/16 and relieve me for 3/8 head on the sandwiching bolts. And that in essence is what we've got now. The project can continue, and I won't show too many repetitions because it gets too tedious. I'll just go through some of the operations so that we can eventually reach the stage where I've got a finished 4-way tool post at last. Oh, and not forgetting, of course, the famous T-nut, which I made yesterday. I devoted the whole of that and called it part 2. It was such a fiddly little devil. Alright, we're just going to do some centre drilling here. It's an old 3/8 drill. It's underneath there to act as a support for the what is actually a 3/8 shelf on this top piece. So we'll just get some centre drilling done. I'll just do one and then I'll switch off and avoid boring you. Right, we'll get the others done, then we'll move on to some drilling. Right, we got the centre drilling done. Yeah, normal practice here is having got my centre drill starters, I try and find a suitable drill size to go through everything. I prefer to start smaller and get a decent pilot. 3/16 is useful because there, got focus. Yeah, this counterbore, and that's got a 3/16 tip, and we're going to use that for the 4 what I'm calling sandwich bolts. So we're going to go 3/16 all the way around, which will give me my starter. I'm just made a start here on the first one. Okay, that's the first one, and we've got another, what do you got, 8, 9, 10 and 12, oh the 13, we got 12 to go, so we got 12 to go. I won't bore you with that, nothing very exciting about it, but I am clamping this for these holes. Better rigidity, better truth of hole. So let's get these pre-drilled. Just got the centre hole to go, and just pointing out, well, 2 things actually. One is, you may have said to yourself already, why doesn't he run the damn drill faster? Well, it's a fiddle changing the pulleys over on top, so I tend to run slower and be patient and adjust my feed to suit. And this is basically made for woodworking, but I tell you what, it's got plenty of cut on it, so I could just deburr these bottom ones when I was turning the piece round. I'll just set up real quick for that centre hole. I'll just get a start, a location. Just shut off. Keep that in place, and then we'll lock that down. I'm ready to go. Right, that's all the 3/16 done. In some ways, actually, I find the initial pilot holes in some ways are harder work. Once you've got a pilot hole, larger stuff is quicker. There's the centre hole with its burr. I just twist that around by hand a little bit. Just a little bit more. My juice has got to go bigger yet. Yeah, let's smooth that out. Alright, there we go. That's the... we'll go ahead now and do the counterbore, the 4 counterbore holes for the Allen head sandwich bolts. Set that up. I have a feeling this counterbore may not be mega sharp. I haven't used it for a long time. We'll give it a try. I've set depth and we're locked up. I'm trying to keep my arm out of the way. Not easy. Yeah, I have preset depth, slightly generous, because the sandwich bolts obviously don't want to be proud of the top. It's not that critical. So we'll give this a try, see how we go. A little bit of chatter at the bottom there. Once it's not cutting, it doesn't seem to like it. No, whether we've got enough depth, I don't know. We'll have to check. Let's just swing over and see what we've got. No, it hasn't gone in far enough. Let's check and see. That should be enough depth. I'm just checking again. Well, for some reason it was trying to chatter, and I'm not at the end of my travel yet. Right, let's run it up again. That's better. It's one of those things that doesn't like a shallow feed. There we go. Anyway, you can see that, but anyway, we're just below, so that's fine. So we can do the others. I won't bore you with those. We'll get those done. Right, it's one of those situations where fairly heavy cut needs to be taken to keep the cutting face going well. Actually the bit doesn't look too bad, and of course it's pretty obvious with something like that the clamp has to be pretty well in place. Yeah, so there we go. That's those out of the way. We've just got to drill clearance for those, and if we put there we are, you might be able to see that's just below the surface. I'll go with that. So we've got clearance holes to do for those. We've got a clearance hole for the middle, and then we've got to do tapping holes around the edge. The sandwich belts are caught about 20 TPI. Clearance drill 6.5. I'll just get those out of the way. Got a little burr on the bottom. Use my little hand countersink just to clear that away, and we'll just put a bolt through, and there we are. Let's try and get in frame again. And just about see, there you are. but just a skosh under the surface. I'm happy with that. That'll work. Right, we'll just get the other ones done. Just finishing off the clearance hole down the middle. I'm having to use a reduced shank, which is a 2960. Is it 2964? I haven't got a 5.3, so this is just a smidgen larger, but not a problem. A bit of resonance there, chips on the floor and everything. Right. Actually, my speed was a little bit high there, probably because I'm too lazy to change the gears, the pulleys I should say. It's not a bad drill. Just like often happens, it needed a pretty generous feed, otherwise it was tending to chatter. And I know I put the extra clamp on, as you might have noticed. Rather necessary when the drill sizes go up. And now everything is covered in oil. Better too much oil than too little. And just deburr that slightly. Actually, it wasn't bad. So this is what we've got now, and remains to be done now is what remains to be done is the outside locking bolts for tooling. Alright, not too bad. I think that's nice and free through there. There's no need for it to be a tight tolerance at all. Okay, the first of the drills for tapping. I actually need a 6.6mm, but I haven't got it, so I'm using a 1764, which is about half a thou plus, which is not enough to bother me for this purpose. So I'll get these run through, and this is just the first one. That didn't take long. I'll just do the other 7. I'll then either put a slight countersink on top before tapping, or what I sometimes do is actually use the tap size, which in this case is 5/16. It's a British thread, British standard whip-width, 5/16 by 18. It's quite a coarse thread. It's actually the same thread as in the other one, but I do sometimes use the same size as a starter for about a 30-second. Makes tapping a bit easier, but if I get a good chamfer, that'll do as well. So let's get these other ones done. Okay, we want to get these 5/16 tapped, and I'm going to use, I've just zoomed out actually just to remind you that's my tap starter, something I covered in a Gadgets and Gizmos number 4, I think it was. This is just this is a starting tap So I'm just going to run this in a couple of turns on each hole, and then we'll take it out and do it the easy way. But this is weird. This it's not a loom tap like Keith Fenner talks about, but so I drop that in. I think my arm's going to get in the way, but I'm just going to get a couple of turns. I'm not bothering to clamp this. I'll zoom in a bit just for this one. Right, so I'm just going to undo excuse me. So drop this back in. It's already done a part turn. I shouldn't have to clamp this if I can just hold it steady. I'm probably getting in my own light. Get to the point where the Jacobs can no longer hold the tap, and that basically will do. Alright, that gives me a start, and I'll do that on each, and then we'll put it in the vise and finish off the taps. I'm just going to put this in the vise. You might see what I described before. There, that's a bit better maybe. I put the 5/16 drill through a measured depth. This is to give me a tap start, and I've used the tap starter to about 2.5 turns. So we're going to put it in the vise and see if we can just use a small tap wrench. I should probably get my own way here, and this is a crummy old tap wrench. I cannot find my medium-sized one, it just seems to have vanished, but I think this will do. We're not using we're not doing a lot of work on here. This foamy stuff's weird. I've switched from a starter tap to a number 2. So let's see just how this goes through. These taps, incidentally, are not particularly new. I think I'm going to change. I don't like the feel of that one. I've actually gone back to the starter tap, which of course gives a more progressive cut the other end, and we're not concerned with bottoming. We've got clearance here, so let's see, that goes right through there. What we need to do now is to check the bolt and see if that will go through cleanly. Only going through about, what, 5/8 here. Let's just see if we can get the bolt through. That's it, drop it on the floor. See if it goes tight at the bottom end. No, that's good. That's good. Right, I only changed the view there just to... this lighting's weird. It looks It's very blue light from LEDs, but it makes this piece of steel here look real funny. Right, just to show you that the thread's alright, I'll come in from the back end. I know you'd take my word for it anyway, wouldn't you? There we are. Alright, we just got 7 to go, and then this chunk is more or less prepared and we need a bit of lathe work. Okay, last tap hole. One reason I actually don't mind using a slightly smaller tap wrench than might be nice to use is the danger of breaking a tap. Everyone, I'm sure, has had that nasty little ping. That little ping as you're applying torque, and there you are with a hole full of tap, and that is not a nice thing at all. Give me cast iron, I'll tap cast iron any day. It's quite the nicest stuff to tap in my experience. Now we can just blow that off. I'll get it dried up and then I'll put the bolts in, and then that'll finish us off on this stage. Okay, there we are then. Let's this is where we're at now. Try and get the light right, and oh, sandwich bolts are dropping out. Trying to get the light right is ridiculous on here. There, that's a bit better. Yeah, there's a sandwich bolt, and we've got the 8 tool holding bolts. There's the underside. These tool holding bolts, these have got to go in the lathe and turn off about two turns of thread, so they've got to be finished. And then the lathe work includes we've got to make the top section handle, etc. And the other thing, which is probably we haven't quite finished drilling, we've got to marry up the bottom with the top. It may be a case of using some CA glue temporarily, because what we've got to do is to go through these sandwich bolt holes into the base, so we can drill that and tap to put the whole lot together permanently. Right, so there we are anyway for now. That's basically where we'll leave it for the time being. So yes, a bit more drilling and tapping, but I think we'll include that in the next section when we get to the lathe stage and finishing off. We've made quite a good bit of progress anyway. Hopefully it gives you an idea of how this old fella deals with stuff with his limited resources.